How many times do we make plans to cook our African authentic meal and we realize that we forgot a grocery, an important grocery, to put together this meal? Oja Express is a soon to be launched app here in Boston. On April 4th, Africans in Boston invited the co founder Boyede to talk more about their app and how it's making an impact already in Chicago and Washington, D.C. in the African community.
Again, my name is Boyede Sobitan. I'm one half of Oja Express. My co-founder Fala couldn't be with us tonight. He's in San Francisco handling other businesses. So indulge me. So what is Oja Express? I'm going to take you through a journey, and it's a journey that probably many of you have already experienced. So if by show of hands, has anybody seen these headlines in the media or anywhere? Does this look familiar? So we know we're in the probably in the crux of a digital revolution, especially around groceries, especially around e-commerce. So, and a lot of companies, and we've seen this already earlier. We've seen this with the taxi industry already, right? When Uber and Lyft and all the rideshare companies came in, due to the inability to innovate fast enough, that industry was disrupted. The same thing is going on in a lot of aspects of commerce. So we can see Amazon, the Whole Food acquisition a couple of years ago, that shook up a lot of people. Now this is an arms race between Amazon, Kroger, and Walmart. Now we see small grocers in communities similar to Boston, Chicago, all over the country that are shutting down because they're unable to compete because of the high cost. But we're seeing this all over the place. We're seeing supermarkets across the country, due to the inability to innovate and invest in technology, suffer. And when these supermarkets suffer, who else suffers? The communities, because those are jobs that are being taken away. Additionally, those are services and foods that are very, very unique and specific to different segments of the population that are not oftentimes offered in some of our bigger box grocers. So the industry is changing very fast, and the ability to keep up is important. I just recently read a study about immigrants and their entrepreneurial endeavors. And 33% of businesses that are started by our parents, only 33% are actually passed down to the next generation, which means there's a 66% failure rate, or 67% failure rate in those businesses. So our businesses don't thrive past one generation. And then to the third generation, I think it's only 5%. So it gets even harder beyond that. So this is some of the comments that are coming out of the industry. The grocery industry has a long-standing reputation of being traditional, one slow to embrace the digital revolution, and this business is changing, and consumers are changing. As we know, a lot of us are working a lot more. A lot of convenience is a big factor in a lot of decisions that we make. We want things to be automated. I'm sure when we get that brown box at our doorsteps with the tape on it, we get excited to see what do we order. Those types of things, we know Uber, all types of things that we have that just enhance the conveniences in our lives. But in our industry specifically, this is not taking place. And why is that? Okay, great. So why is that? Basically, the lack of you have bigger players that have the ability to invest more in these technologies. I mean, you have warehouses. Has anybody ever been to Seattle in the room? Like, pretty much Seattle is Amazon's like backyard. That's the whole city is pretty much run by Amazon. So you have companies such as that. How do small mom and pop or fledgling grocers compete with that type of competition, that bench strength, as I like to call it? And then the market pressures are increasing. Again, people want convenience. I'm not trying to stand in the store smelling like stockfish after a while, waiting for the butcher to cut my meat, not knowing how long things have been on the shelf, and on 2 checkout lines. I have too many things to do, too many things going on in my life for me to kind of use my time in that way. That's not probably the best use of my time. So for grocers specifically, what we're starting to see now, we're seeing this now in Chicago, almost 15 to 20% of your customers, if you don't offer online delivery or online services, are going to someone who does. So if you're a grocer in this place, or if you are friends of a grocer, what does that mean to your business? What does that, would your business pretty much, if you project out 5 years from now, would your business be able to remain competitive without a huge cash outlay to invest in technology, servers, back end, et cetera, a lot of the technical stuff that kind of goes into having a very sustainable system. So I'm just gonna go through a couple of trends so you all don't think I'm just making this up. So I actually went to the National Grocers Association, and this is pretty much an association that looks at independent grocers and seeing what independent grocers do well relative to the bigger brands, the Safeways, the Krogers, you name it, the bigger brands across the country. And one of the advantages for independent grocers are the fact that they offer the ethnic and cultural foods. People would drive hours to get their egusi, their plantain, or if you're Caribbean, plantain, or whatever type of ethnic food you grow up with. People will have been demonstrated to drive hours and spend hours to get the cultural groceries. Or they'll wait a couple of months for a mom or aunt to come home and hope that TSA doesn't confiscate or destroy the yams that just came straight from the village. So these are, as you can kind of see, our shopping habits and our ability to acquire the foods that we grow up on, the foods that we have been nurtured on, are quite different from that of the typical, the traditional American experience. So this is some of the action steps, and this also was a report that was actually co-sponsored by Nielsen. So this has a big company that's also supported it. And basically, what are some opportunities that we see for some of our grocers? Number two, basically offer specialty products. We do that to meet customers online, which is the reason why we're here. Improve presentation, offer convenience. These are things that, as we go on to this presentation, I can show you how Oja Express is actually doing this. Another thing that I wanted to kind of draw your attention to, where they said this is a room to grow for pretty much most national grocers, is the ability to offer online ordering with delivery or store pickup. Does anybody here shop at the African or Caribbean grocers currently, by show of hands? Okay, so can you order your groceries online currently? So, and how long does it take you to just drive to the grocery store? 2 minutes. So you live right next door. Anybody more than 2 minutes? 30 minutes. Just one way, right? So if there was an opportunity for it to be brought to your home, or to be brought across town, or to have it ready for you to pick up when you went to work, how often would you more likely patronize that particular store? The study says more likely than not you will, unless you live 2 minutes away and then you can just roll out of bed and just handle that business. So this is what we're looking at. This is the industry trends. We know that 4 out of 10 online grocers, people who shop online, are going to actually order more groceries because, again, that convenience factor. Like, I thought I was immune to this because I'm a pretty money savvy individual. So, but then once I started getting my shoes and books and everything off of Amazon, I don't even recall the last time I looked at my credit card bill. I just do it. And they got me somehow, some way. So we know that just from a standpoint of the psychology, that when people have convenience, people are more likely to order more and more frequently online. And then we also know that over the growth from 16% shopping online to now 20% going online. But for some reason within the immigrant population, these services are not pretty readily available. So these are just some other interesting facts. We know that 85% of our ethnic consumers, not just Africans, but ethnic consumers overall, will love to cook their foods more widely, more often, but they can't because the convenience factor, and also the major grocers have one aisle, and that one aisle, that international aisle, is everybody. So the ability for them to have the full complement of groceries for your culinary needs is pretty slim. Then we also know that 65% of non-ethnic shoppers, so we also know there's a big foodie culture in this country, or people travel a lot. People who do civil service overseas, things of that nature, want to come back and try to say, hey, I just went to Jamaica and I want to really try this jerk rub, where can I get it from? And no matter how hard they try, craft just doesn't do it. So. And then 33%, we know that as far as when it comes to e-commerce, that people are spending more and more of their time online just to ensure that they have the convenience factors. They could do a lot more comparative shopping, price transparency, data, things of that nature. All these things are cumulative factors as to why Oja Express exists. So what's the solution? So what's Oja Express? Simply, Oja Express is an easy-to-use e-commerce platform geared specifically for ethnic grocers. And by virtue of us building the capacity and the infrastructure for the grocers, we also then, by proxy, improve the experience for consumers who also want to shop and buy foods. So what will you get when you have Oja Express as a grocer, as a platform for your grocery store? You have a virtual store that's created for you. So pretty much your store will be online automatically. We process your credit card. You have a dedicated account manager and dedicated customer service. So with that said is, essentially what we do is we pretty much allow you as a grocer to automatically put all your products and inventory online for people to shop and see what you have to offer and then buy it from you immediately. How many times have you gone to the grocery store, even the 2-minute person? How many times have you gone to the grocery store and they didn't have that thing that you've been craving for a long time? They're out of, I don't know, Milo. They're out of something that you drove 30 minutes across town and they're out of that one thing. Wouldn't it be nice to, like, before you even thought to drive out there, know exactly what's on the shelf or what's in stock before you even took the time to do that? So this is one of the benefits of having Oja Express as a platform partner, as I like to say. And then what are our customers saying? And I'm going to show you a video to back this up. We have a real person who actually said this. So basically, as we speak, we're in Boston. We're in the Cambridge Innovation Center. We know the speed of innovation. We also know the speed of our lives and the ability to gain more time, to spend time with our family, spend time doing, writing poetry, whatever you like doing in your free time. That's actually, people are valuing that more than the actual work of actually doing mundane activities such as grocery shopping. So with that said, I just want to show a really quick video and then open up for questions.
I'm a wife, a stay-at-home mom, and a fashion designer. I'm a stay-at-home mom to 2 little boys. They're very troublesome, they're amazing. The problem I was looking to solve when I found out about Oja Express was basically having someone get me my groceries. I live on the 3rd floor of my condo. I really don't feel like lugging everything up the stairs with my 2 little boys fighting and everything. So it's convenient for me to have my groceries delivered. It's really important for me to cook for me and my family because it's what I crave sometimes. I was born and raised in Nigeria. Just because I've been here for the most of my life doesn't mean I'm just gonna forget who I am and just make American meals for my family. I crave Nigerian food, and sometimes I want my fori roll, I want my pounded yam, I want my jollof rice, and I make it myself in the house. So yeah, it's very important. The best thing that I experienced when I used Oja Express was I was really impressed with the way my groceries were delivered and how it looked when it was delivered. I thought it was really thoughtful. I made specific directions, in my order about the way I wanted my meat cut, about what I wanted, and everything was done the exact way that I would have done, even better than I would have done it. It was so beautiful, and I was just like, whoa, this is really thoughtful, and that just made me feel like, you know what, if they're gonna do that, go out of their way to do that, that's a company worth choosing. And I feel moms like me, just as busy, just as occupied, you don't have time for yourself to even do your hair or look pretty, just having your groceries delivered by Oja Express is so much more convenient than going to a store by yourself. Just try them out and you see.
Are there any questions? Oh, wow, got off immediately. Yes, I saw.
Hi, Helen
Hey, what's going on? Oh, sorry to me. We got a lot of video content.
I have 3 main questions.
Sure.
So the first one I should probably ask is, in the wake of grocery delivery or food delivery, what it really boils down to, right? Obviously convenience, you've touched upon that factor.
Correct.
But it's also distribution, right? So you have an IPO of something like, what's it called, Blue Apron, right?
Correct.
They're in trouble right now. I can talk to you about it. They're in trouble right now because they have their distribution warehouse in the East Coast is pretty held up, right? Their stock is tanked. It's like 3/4 its value. So is there another value proposition other than, what makes you, guys, I'm good. What makes you competitive in a world of Blue Aprons and food delivery, right? Because distribution is like a key factor. Do you have any distribution partners that allow for people to sell sort of cheaply, or what is that? What does your distribution look like? Your ability to service?
Thank you. So that's a very excellent question. So essentially, we're leveraging our stores. So the stores that we work with are essentially nodes. They have perfected importing these goods from all over the world, which is something that we see as a bit of a gulf between us and our competitors. So with that said, we pretty much leverage their distribution channel, and then we use them as nodes. So for example, if you were to get on the app and we have a partner store, by geolocation, you'll find the closest available store that has the product that you're looking for by country. So we don't own any distribution, we don't have any inventory, we leverage the inventory that's already currently in place. So we pretty much are complementing the current infrastructure that's in place, if that makes sense. So we don't box anything, we don't warehouse anything. Now with regards to the cost aspect of it, we are working with a number of distributors who do have warehouses, who also sell to these stores, who want to get into the retail space as well. So we are working on opportunities that way. So for example, I know a lot of people might have a lot of products. We will work directly with a lot to have their own platform on our platform.
Okay. And just one more question, if I may. So the woman in the video, it was interesting as just a use case. She talks a lot about like speed and convenience, but what is the value proposition other than sort of the convenience of a nice looking product, right? That make this like what are there other things that she may want from home? Because she even said she'd use your product or service. Sometimes she wants a taste of home, right? That was the operative word. So is there anything else beyond the vision of food that you're providing directly to the consumer?
So, well, our aspect is to enhance the B2B aspect. So we're more of a B2B platform. Well, we're essentially a two-sided market, but an ability to impact the B2C standpoint, we got to really build up the business aspect, and that's where our focus is right now. So besides that, we're working on opportunities whereby we work with foodies and experts, so people can like shop by cart. So for example, if you've heard of the Foodie Noir, what is it called? Flavor Noir, or Rennie's Kitchen, or different food bloggers that you might be interested in. We are working on some interactive abilities to shop by their recipes that will populate into your cart. There's a lot of other technologies, a lot of advancements and development things that we're doing on the back end that I'm not really at liberty to talk about right now, but essentially right now we're trying to start with the basics and kind of go from there. So the issue right now is access and convenience, and that's the issue we're trying to address. And we know that we're in a safe space, not necessarily all with the African community, but just immigrants overall. That community, the first and second generation community, because those markets are so fragmented, and that's pretty much our opportunity right now. So that's why you don't see Amazon, or if you do look on Amazon right now and look at the prices they sell a lot of those products, they're almost sometimes 3 or 4 times the price you get them at the store, and there's a reason behind that, because they haven't quite perfected what these stores have done. Even though they might be small, they understand how to go to different countries and work the import-export game and get these products into ports and things of that nature. And that's something that right now a lot of other e-commerce platforms have not perfected. But thank you. We're gonna talk afterwards. So, yes.
Yes. Thank you very much. My name is Sonny, and I think this business idea is our own, and it is for us. And I think we should patronize it. It looks like right now we are limited to only food items, right?
Correct.
Do you have some plans to expand it so as to include African clothes, so people can buy African clothes online. And of course, there are some African authors, for example, I'm one of them. People have written many interesting books so that Africans and friends of Africa to get our books also through this very business enterprise. Thank you.
No, thank you. That's a very good question. So right now, our primary focus right now is on food, but we also do know that there's other aspects of culture we want to touch on, but we want to be focused. We would like to tell people, I think we had I had an interview a couple of days, and we like to tell people that our vision is to become the United Nation of Foods at your fingertips. So that's how we're doing it right now. And who knows? I mean, Amazon started with just books. now look at them. So you never know. So I guess the answer to your question directly is to be continued.
Okay, thank you.
So I just wanted to say at the end there will be a panel for deep conversation. But I just wanted to get 2 more questions so we can go on to the next panel.
Yes. I've got 3 questions for you. One,
So 2 questions.
I'll try to make them brief.
Okay.
One is Oja Express in all 50 states? Because what if you're in a state where and somebody wants to order, how are you going to be able to deliver their groceries?
So right now, we're operational in 2 markets. We're operational in Chicago, and we're operational in the DC, Maryland, Virginia areas right now. And that's the reason I'm out here as well, partially. We want to see if there's a potential to activate the Boston market. And right now, also our process to getting food, we like to call it as a hyper-local. So we don't envision right now, well, we're building right now a back end to be able to deliver dry goods. That's not fully fleshed out yet. But in the meantime, we want to make sure that we are patronizing the stores that are already in our communities and in your communities. So that's what we're working on right now.
Secondly, somebody mentioned that it took them 2 minutes to get to a market to pick up something from their country. For me, it takes 8 hours because I'm from South Africa, and the closest place I could get the food items had been in Washington, D.C.
Yep.
Now, what can be done about that?
And that's where we're working on the shipping aspect of it. So we have a lot of interest from South Africa, Zimbabwe, where their foods are very specific. And their markets are not necessarily as prevalent as maybe Ethiopia or West African country markets. But we are working on actually being able to ship cross-country. And we're working with different shipping partners. But that hasn't been finalized yet, but it's in the process. And when I say in the process, meaning within the next 2 months.
Well, I did discover that there's one guy in Newton that got some items, and then I picked up the item one day I went back a few weeks later only to have discovered that the FDA now had forbidden the item from coming in because it didn't meet regulations. What can one do about a situation like that?
Well, we don't get into the regulation standpoint. So, but I can say that most of the independent distributors, as was brought up earlier, all had to be FDA approved. So we don't want to run afoul of, especially this current administration. So we don't want to run afoul of the government.
Well, I guess I don't know whether my question was already answered, but I was wondering about your quality assurance and quality control practices, given that your independent contractors are obviously, I mean, of course, it seems to be sort of, I don't want to use this term, like an Uber of food. You have people that you've connected with, and there's a quality assurance, quality and practice, and I just wanted you to elaborate. And then what would happen if you now got this great expansion? How would you control the expansion versus the amount of distributors you have?
Excellent question. I like to more say we're more of the Grubhub of groceries, of ethnic groceries. I would like to say we're more of the Grubhub of ethnic groceries, and I think our quality would be similar to their process as well. And we also have a peer review, a community-focused rating system. We could rate grocers as well, so people can kind of look and see, oh, this grocer is rated a 4, this one rated a 5, and kind of get a sense of what the community is saying about grocers. I think also it helps the grocers as well, because I mean, how often do we give our ethnic grocers feedback? Usually they're the only shop in town, so we kind of just tolerate, like whatever they give us, however they give it to us. So this is a way also to kind of help with that quality improvement. And we also think as we grow and the deeper we get, I think the more we can help, farmers, independent distributors on the continent as well. Because now they would know exactly through market research how many yams they need to yield to send to the U.S. and to what markets are selling the most. So there's a lot of deep data science that goes into the back end that we think the more I like to say the more reps we get, the better we'll be with that. Did I answer your question? Okay.